What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Thomas Gallery, and today we're doing a little Thor drawing. Thor from Marvel Comics. Now, I already started this, so as you see, I know a lot, but I figured, why not record it, you know. So I just felt, why not do a little bit of drawing, you know what I'm saying? I was trying to figure out what character should I draw next, and it was a kind of a coin toss between the Hulk and Thor. I said, you know what? I've drawn Hulk so many times, so many times. Like just change it up a little bit. Let's just change it up a little bit. So I've decided to draw Thor, Odin's son. And he's called Odin's son because, as the name states, he is the son of Odin. Odin is known as the All-Father. His actual name is Odin Bor's son, father, a son of Bor. And yeah, I figured why not? Why not go ahead? Why not try? I know the movie Thor Ragnarok is coming out soon. I want to see that because I'm actually curious to see if they take Ragnarok from the actual mythological story of the Vikings of Ragnarok. For those who don't know, Ragnarok is like the equivalent to the Viking apocalypse. That's actually what Ragnarok is. It's like the Viking apocalypse. And in the story, all the gods die. That's the actual story of Ragnarok. All the gods die. Everything dies. Like Thor fights a giant snake in the actual story. Everything dies. And what happens is once Ragnarok is over, there's a tree in the middle of the field, and in that tree, two people come out of the tree, a man and a woman. And they are there to repopulate the planet and start all over. Now, for those who are wondering, why does that sound familiar? That's because a lot of the stories came from Judeo-Christian tales of like the Garden of Good, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve. Like in historical times, the Vikings and the Romans, who at that time became Catholic and wrote about the story of the Bible, the biblical stories, biblical Hebrew stories, and then Catholicism came about. And during that time, they had conflicts with each other and converted a lot of the Vikings to Roman Catholic, which happens a lot in war. When war happens, when war happens and you lose the war, what normally happens is whichever religion your conqueror is, you become. It's either you convert to that particular religion or you die. That's really how things went back then. So the Romans and the Vikings had conflicts. They go back and forth, back and forth. Cultures are exchanged. Language is exchanged. People are exchanged, and you have an amalgamation of ideas. The Vikings are now introducing Roman Catholic ideas into their traditional systems. Like I said, the tree at the end of Ragnarok, the whole idea of the apocalypse is mainly a popular Judeo-Christian idea. So when you lose, that usually happens. To the victor goes the spoils. If you lose, you do what we tell you to do. If you don't do what we tell you to do, you die. Which means you're going to take on our language. You're going to take on our political systems. You're even going to take on our religion. So in the Judeo-Christian system, you have a story about a tree. Even though it's actually not new. Like, the Romans did not come up with the idea of a tree of life. That's not a Roman concept originally. It's like almost every culture has a story about a tree. Every story has a story about a flood. Every story has a story about, first people. Every story has a story about a savior. Every story has a story about the ending of the world. There's an ending of the world story. There's an ending of the world story in all cultures. Every culture got an ending of the world story. Every story got a story about a sort of a war that took place either before the coming of man or it's going to take place during man's time. There's a war in heaven. There's a clash of the titans. There's a contentions of Asar and Asar and Set. There's some kind of conflict. There's always close family members fighting. This is not new, but when the Roman Catholics got a hold of it and spread it, other civilizations got caught up in it. One of those being the Vikings, and also during that, the Vikings fought back because you had the Germanic tribes. You had the Goths, the Visigoths, the Vandals, the Slavs. These are Germanic tribes that we would nowadays call Vikings, but they were Germanic tribes. You had the Anglo and the Saxons. I know you're probably, why? Like, how in the world did I get a history lesson out of this? Well, I want to give you some context to a lot of the stories that we hear about that are popularized by media, like comic books. Like, comic books took actual stories and popularized it by putting it in a entertaining cartoon form. Like, Marvel Comics has a Hercules. There's a Hercules story. Everybody knows about the story of Hercules or Heracles. Everybody knows about that. We all know about that. So it's not new for in the entertainment region to delve into actual historical events or historical stories and extract them and use them as inspiration for certain ideas. It's nothing new. But when you look back on the actual stories to see where the comics got it from, like, okay, like you wonder how close it is to the actual story. Like, how close is Superman to Moses and Jesus? Like, we all know that Superman story is based off of the story of Moses. We all know that. That's not new. I mean, I think anybody who's a fan of Superman has probably done the research and realized that the two creators of Superman were Jewish. It's nothing new. I'm not saying anything nobody don't know. So they're gonna take stories that they're familiar with, and they're gonna use them. It's okay. Oh man. But back to Thor. Thor is a very popular character, especially now with the movies. When the movies are coming out and stuff, because of his mentality. Like he, he's a god that has a funny side. Because usually in the comics, I know for me reading the comics, he was never really depicted as someone who has a lot of humor. He was someone that was always seen in the comics as a almost from the King Arthur days, like that very very knight in shining armor, chivalrous attitude. That Galahad, that King Arthur type mold. He's always been depicted as that in the comics. But in the movies, they've given him a kind of a remake, if you will. Giving him like a funny bone, I should say. They've given Thor a funny bone. They've made him actually funny. But here's the thing. What they've also done that I've noticed is that they have actually kind of toned down his actual power. Like if you knew about Thor in the comics, right? And if you were to read about the things that Thor can actually do in the comics, you would say that, man, Thor is actually more powerful than they show him in the movies. Like everybody knows that Thor is powerful. We all know that. But I don't think we really understand how powerful Thor really is. Like I don't think we really get that. Like he's a freaking god. But I don't think we really know like to the full extent of his powers that because they don't show it in the movies. Like if they really watch, I wonder. Wait a minute, hold on. I wonder will they actually show Thor's full powers in Ragnarok? I don't know because from what I've seen in the commercials, the trailers that have come out, his hammer Mjolnir is broken, which is crazy. I think it's broken by Hela because Hela is actually the daughter of Loki in the story. I don't know if they're actually gonna show that like that, but Hela is actually Loki's daughter. So, I don't know that she was that powerful to do that, but and Hela is the queen of the underworld, which is where we actually get the term hell from. In like the term hell, Hell, is not a Christian or Jewish word. That's not, no. It comes from Hela, Hela. That's where we get the term Hela, because she is the queen of the underworld. And like I said before, when those two cultures mingled and mixed and got in together, they introduced each other to their own stories. So you take, because there's always a story of the underworld too. There's an underworld story. Every culture has an underworld story. And it's not always fire. Every underworld story is not fire. Actually, most underworld stories is actually depicted as cold. That's how it's actually depicted. It's not depicted as fire. It's depicted as cold and dark. That's actually how the underworld is depicted. Why? I'm guessing why, because when a person dies, their eyes are closed. And when your eyes are closed, you can only see dark. And when a person dies, they're cold also. Well, they're not cold. They're just actually room temperature. Whatever, because your body temperature is 98.6. If you have passed, your body temperature goes down to the temperature of the area that you're in. So it may feel cold to you, when you're actually not cold. You're just actually room temperature. That's just a little science there for you. But if it feels cold to you, you'll say, okay, the place they're going must be cold as well. And it's dark because they can't see. Then you have a judge of the underworld. You have, like you say, you got Hela. You have Anubis. you have all these entities that deal with the underworld, so it's not new. Let's see. So yeah, so I wonder like how they're going to show Thor Ragnarok. I know they're going to have Hulk in there. I knew that actually a while ago. I knew they were going to do that. They talked about that a while ago. I'm actually very excited about that because they took the story of Planet Hulk and intertwined it with Thor Ragnarok. So I wonder would they actually show the World Breaker Hulk in this because the World Breaker Hulk came out of the Planet Hulk. So I wonder what they're going to do with that. They're probably, what in the world? Like, I did not come. Like, huh? Like, where all this come from? We just, yeah, I know. I don't want to just give y'all just a drawing and me be quiet. I want to give y'all some things to think about. That's just me. I don't, I like to, disseminate information and entertain. So yeah. Excuse me. And plus, I've always been a history buff. Always been a history buff. I've always liked history. I've always liked stories of mythology and you know just just the idea of how people were thinking. Like what were they thinking about? Just because every culture has their own. Even though we're all humans, we have many different cultures, and every culture is different and unique in their own way. And I've always been interested about how different cultures view their environment. How do other cultures see the world? We all have the same. We all live on the same planet. We all see the same sky, but we all interpret our surroundings different. We all view things differently. We all have a different perspective. So I was always curious as to how people viewed the world around them. How do we come about certain ideas that we think about? Why do we? Why is there a flood story in almost every mythology? Why is there why a lot of creation stories, like why some creation stories similar? Just things like that. Why is there an ending of the world story in a lot of cultures? Why do a lot of cultures have similar deities? Like every culture has a sun deity. Every culture has a sun deity. Every culture has a water deity. Now, things I know the reason why through just through me investigating, just me being curious, and I know why people have a sun deity and an air deity and a war deity, a love deity. I know why, but just I've always been curious about that. So I just said, why not? It actually helps me with my art more because it helps me bring better context to my art when I explain it. So people get to understand why I draw what I draw, and you know, yeah, this is what happens when a history nut is an artist too. So, am I an artist who loves history? Or am I a historian who is an artist. I'm all that. I'm all those things. Ain't nothing to think about. I'm all those things. I love history. But yes, art is my first love. Almost done here. Let's see. And I'm done. We're going to just sign it. What's today's date? What's today's date, y'all? What's today's date? Today is 16th. May 16th. I'll put it right here. 5, 6. I know it's small, but you can still see it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you focus. Focus. There you go. Focus. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you Thor, Odin's son. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below, like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will catch you all later. Peace.